Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Today we're back for another statistical related video, analytics. Brad has once again done the good deed of the research behind what we're going to talk about, and that's underdogs. What teams have been the best underdog teams since 1997, so basically the last 20 years.
Last 20 years.
And he's come up with his own formula, which I have shown you the formula. You're going to explain the formula, and then I'm going to tell you what these top 10 underdog teams in the last 20 years are. You don't know them. That's the whole kind of purpose of this video, is me presenting the actual list to you. But
without getting into the minute details of it all, what Brad has done is he's taking the regular season performance of a given team in the league overall and predicting from that regular season performance roughly how deep they ought to be able to go into the playoffs.
right.
In other words, the teams that finish at the bottom, that are the away team in every first playoff series, would be considered generally the underdog, because the team they're playing against finished higher than they did in the standings, maybe a lot higher. So that team would be the underdog. The more underdoggy a team is, the higher their underdog percentage.
Exactly.
What Brad has done is he's taken the regular season performance and then followed those teams into the playoffs to see how deep they went. And the deeper those underdog teams go into the playoffs, the more stretching they do of the chances, the underdog rating.
Exactly.
So we're going to see teams, and I haven't seen them, and you won't show them to me, that's why. But the teams with the lower percentages in the 30s and 40 percentile range are underdogs, but not serious underdogs.
Yep.
Teams that have 60% underdog, 70% underdog, they're serious underdogs. And if they finish low in the regular season, but still make it, just sneak into the playoffs and then go all the way into the finals or the semifinals, those are the teams that Brad's calculations really catch here.
Exactly. Those teams are going to be near the top with a very high underdog percentage.
Right.
So this is the top 10, I guess, but there's actually 2 teams tied for 10th and 2 teams tied for 9th and 2 teams tied for 8th. So I guess there's a total of 13 teams, I guess, here. But let's start off with number 10. Mm-hmm. The last on the list are tied for number 10, Pittsburgh Penguins, and they've got a 50% underdog percentage, and they finished 8th overall and then go on to win the Stanley Cup in 2009.
Okay, so, and that's 8th overall in the league. So out of the 16 teams that make the playoffs, or the 30 teams in the league,
exactly,
Pittsburgh finished 8th, which is probably roughly halfway down their division.
Exactly, yeah.
And they go on to win the Cup.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yep.
Another team tied for number 10 is the Boston Bruins with 50% as well. Finished 8th overall in the league and then went on to win the Stanley Cup in 2011. So
well done. I didn't realize that.
Another impressive, yeah.
I'm surprised.
Number 9, San Jose Sharks with 55%. And they finished 11th overall in the league and went on to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2016, the previous season. So pretty good there.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
The other team tied for 9th is the Anaheim Ducks, also at 55%. And they finished 11th, and they went on to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2003.
Interesting.
So another great underdog run.
And could have won the whole thing.
Yeah. Number 8, the New York Rangers with a 60% underdog rating, and they finished 12th overall in the regular season and went on to the finals in 2014. So
very good.
Very impressive. And Calgary is also tied in 8th with 60% underdog rating. They finished 12th overall in the regular season and went on to the finals in 2004.
Nice.
Moving on to number 7, the Los Angeles Kings at 62.5%. They finished 10th overall in the league and went on to win the Stanley Cup in 2014.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers are 6th on this list with 70%. They finished 14th overall in the league, almost at the bottom for playoff teams, and they went on to be the Stanley Cup finalists in 2006. Wow. So that's Game 7 that they almost won, actually.
Yes, that's right.
Number 5 in this list is the Montreal Canadiens at 75%, who finished 20th overall.
Now, how does that happen, 20th? Because only 16 teams. So Montreal's must have finished almost in the lowest playoff seeding in the East.
They were 8th in the East, but there were
teams in the West that were better.
4 other teams in the West had higher points than Montreal, even though
but didn't make their playoffs.
Exactly.
Because it was more competitive.
Exactly. So
wow,
some parity there. But Yeah, they finished 20th overall in the regular season, and they went on to the semifinals in 2010.
I remember that year very well.
It was the Halak special.
He was crazy.
Number
crazy
4
good.
was the Carolina Hurricanes at 80%. They finished 16th overall in the regular season.
Wow.
And went on to the Cup Finals in 2002. So, pretty good. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Kings at 81.25%. They came 13th overall and then went on to win the Stanley Cup in 2012. So, Los Angeles, in the future, if they come 8th, 7th, 6th in the seasonal...
They've proven.
They've proven that they can win the Stanley Cup regardless of where they place.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
So if you get in the playoffs, and that's what it's all about, just getting in the play. Just get us in the playoffs. We'll look after things after that.
Exactly, yeah. And there's no better example of that than the team in number 2, the Nashville Predators.
Absolutely.
From the season that just passed at 85% underdog rating. And they finished 17th overall, and they went on to the Stanley Cup Finals, as we all know, this previous season. So pretty impressive.
Very.
However, number 1 on this list, the greatest underdog team in the last 20 years, is the Philadelphia Flyers at 95%. They finished 19th overall and went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010. So extremely impressive there.
There's an interesting comparable. Montreal finished 20th overall in 2010 and went to the semifinals, but Philly finished only one slot higher and went to the final.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why their underdog rating is so much higher at 95%. What happens if you get to 100%? Does the earth explode? Or,
I don't know.
I guess if you get to 100%, you can't get in the playoffs.
So when Montreal played Philadelphia in the conference finals in 2010, regardless of what team won that series, they became officially the greatest underdog team in the last 20 years.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because Philadelphia is the team that knocked out Montreal during their Cinderella run.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
And Philadelphia was on their own Cinderella run until they got stopped.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really interesting numbers.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, just another interesting statistical analytical video for us to go through. I personally love cheering for underdogs, so I loved seeing this data. As Nashville, I picked Nashville to go to the conference finals this past year in the playoffs, and they went beyond that. I picked them to beat Chicago because I love cheering for underdogs. It makes it so much more enjoyable when they win. I mean, watching Pittsburgh play Columbus and annihilating them, people expected that. So it wasn't really as valuable as when Nashville beat Chicago. It creates more of a story when an underdog wins. And look at the movies. There's literally hundreds of movies about underdogs in boxing, in hockey, in football. They're everywhere.
Well, it's part of the regular storyline that captures people's imaginations. Sports is about doing the unexpected. If sports was always doing the expected, if the best golfer won every tournament every week, or the fastest driver won all the, not fastest, but the best driver won all the NASCAR races, probably people wouldn't go.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the whole idea that you might see an upset.
Yeah, and it's not just with sports, it's with war as well. Straight back to the Roman days when they used to hold off hundreds of thousands of attacking opponents with 20,000 soldiers and stuff like that. And right up straight to World War II, there's plenty of examples of it.
All kinds of those.
Underdogs are always an interesting thing to chat about. So I hope you guys liked this video. I know we had fun going through this. If you liked it, hit the like button. That helps us a lot. If you're new to this channel, I hope you can hit the subscribe button and join us here on YouTube. And otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you in the future. Adios.